Hey, what's up everyone? It's Frankie with meekspace.com. Today I'm going to show you how to root and load a custom ROM, in particular Jelly Bean, the latest Android OS, onto your Kindle Fire. This is just the original Kindle Fire. So what you're going to do is you're going to visit meekspace.com, you're going to go to blogs, you're going to go to how to root and load Jelly Bean on your Kindle Fire, and you're going to want to follow the directions listed here. And the first thing it's going to have you do is download the Kindle Fire utility, the Jelly Bean image, and the GApps image. So download those, and what I did is I downloaded those and then I put them in a folder called temp on my desktop. So if I open up my folder called temp, you should have a Kindle Fire utility. You'll have to unzip that so that you get the folder and the files. And then the other two are zipped, but you don't unzip them. The GApps and the Jandy Cane, do not unzip those. Leave those zipped up. So put them in a folder. So you'll have the Kindle Fire utility unzipped and the two other files. And so that's where we'll start. Now we're going to start with just a clean Kindle Fire. This is just freshly reloaded. Nothing set up, nothing on it. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start off by opening up the Kindle Fire utility, and we want to run the install drivers bat. Now I've already done that, but you'll run it and it's going to install the drivers for your Kindle Fire. So you'll let that run, and once that's finished, then what you want to do is take your Kindle Fire and you want to hook it up to the USB cable that's connected to your PC. So you'll just plug that in, and you'll get, something like this on your screen of your Kindle. And your computer, if the drivers were installed right, will detect it, will see the Kindle Fire, and it'll pull it up and try to load the removable disk on it. And so you can just close it. What we might do right now is just go ahead, when you see the removable disk pop up, go ahead and open that folder, and you'll see removable disk. It might be G, it might be something else. Scroll down, and what you want to do is you'll want to copy the two files. So on your temp folder where you put the Kindle Fire utilities and the GApps and the Jandy Cane, you want the GApps and the Jandy Cane, you want those on your Kindle Fire. So you can grab those and you can drag them over there to your Kindle Fire. I'm not going to do it because, as you can see, they're already on there. So you want to put those on your removable drive, which is your Kindle Fire. So once those are there, then you can go ahead and close that that removable disk, and you want to open up the Kindle Fire folder. In here, you've already installed the install drivers bat, so the next thing you want to do is run the run.bat. And you should get a DOS dialog box that comes up, and it's going to read your Kindle Fire. And if everything's okay, under ADB status you'll see online. If you don't, you'll have to unplug it, plug it back in. You may have to install the drivers again. But if you've got this, you should be okay. So the first thing we want to do is run number 2 up here. So you'll just choose number 2 and hit enter, and it should install everything. And this will take just a little while, and your Kindle Fire will reboot when this does that. Like I'll let you see my Kindle Fire, the screen. It's just at the Kindle Fire screen. And you'll just keep watching the DOS box up here, and it should be going through a lot of different routines. This process is rooting your Kindle Fire, and then it's putting on a utility called TWRP Recovery, which is a little recovery menu that lets you reload your device and do different things with it. So and again, you'll you'll notice your Kindle Fire is just rebooting several times. Eventually it'll come up to the login, the swipe screen. So when it's finished, your screen should say root installed, and then you can go ahead and hit a key and it should take you back to the original menu. You'll notice your Kindle Fire now is up and running, and if you swipe and hit disconnect on the thing, you should have the super user icon, which you didn't have to start with. And at this point, really all we need to do, we're done with this menu. You can go to number 3 and install the latest TWRP recovery, but you don't really need to do that because I think it installs the latest one during this whole process. So really at this point we can just close down these menus, and you'll need to go back to your instructions and read, but the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and shut the device off. So we'll hold the power button in and shut it down, and then from here we've got a few things we're going to do on the device. So I'm going to go ahead and just reposition our camera down to the device so that we know, so it'd be a little easier to pay attention to what it's doing. Having problems with my camera here. Okay, so it's turned off. So what you'll do is you'll hit the power button, and you'll notice the bottom to the right of the screen here, which is the bottom, it says press the power button to boot menu. As soon as you see that, if you hold it too long, you see the little lines. I don't know if you can see the little lines moving between the 3 options. You want the little lines to be surrounding recovery, the middle option. Once that's there, just let go of the power button and it'll continue to boot. If it boots into your Kindle Fire OS, you'll have to shut it off and do this again. Usually all you do is hit the power button. When it says hold the button in, you hold the button in, and as soon as you see the 3 options, let it go, and it should boot on into this TWRP menu. So now that we're in here, the first thing we want to do is we want to back up our system so that if you ever wanted to go back to the original Amazon OS, you could. So you'll just go to backup, and in here you'll choose set backup name. Now I've already backed this up, so I'm not going to bother backing it up, but you'll hit set backup name and you'll type in a name. You can do anything. I chose to put factory ROM root because you can't do spaces, but you could do anything. And then of course when you do that, you just hit the enter button there and it'll save it. And then you swipe this here to do the backup. That's going to back up your ROM just the way it is now. It'll be a factory ROM, but it'll be rooted, which is a good thing because you can then install the actual Play Store and stuff even on the factory OS. So it's a good place to start if you ever had to. But we're not going to do that. We're going to go ahead and go up to the top and go to the home. And what we want to do is, before you install a new ROM, you always want to clean the system. So you'll go to wipe, and you'll choose cache, and you'll swipe to wipe the cache. When that's done, you'll hit the back button and you'll hit Delvic cache, and you'll swipe to wipe the Delvic cache. You'll hit back, and then you'll choose factory reset, and you'll swipe to do that. Those are the 3 things you need to do, and I think you can do them in different orders, but I would recommend doing it in the same order I did it in. Then you go back And at this point we've got a fresh device. So we're going to go back to the home button and we're going to go ahead and go to install. And if you had copied the files over like you were supposed to do, you should see a GApps and a Jandy cane. Now I have an update on mine because that's what I used to put my Kindle Fire back to factory, so that you could, I could start from scratch so you could see everything. But you won't have that. So you'll choose Jandy cane, and once that's chosen, there's nothing you need to select or anything, and you just flash it. Swipe the flash. The other thing you'll want to make sure that you got plenty of power before you start this whole process. Make sure you fully charge your Kindle Fire, just in case you don't want this to run dead in the middle of trying to do this. It could mess something up. So when that's done, you'll go ahead and hit the home button, and you'll want to go back to the install button again. This time you want to choose the GApps. Now the GApps is your Google stuff, like the Google Play Store and the player and all the Google things. So you'll want to go ahead and swipe to flash that. So if you don't do this, then you wouldn't have access to all the Google things which you need to have. So there we are. Once that's finished, then you can go ahead and hit the home button and then just hit reboot and choose system. And at this point it should just it'll take a little longer. You notice there's an extra menu. Press the power button for the boot menu. That's not normally there on an unrooted device. But you don't have to do anything here. You don't have to hit a button or anything when you're trying to boot into the OS. And this is the typical Jelly Bean kind of the front screen. You'll have to remember that the first time you load Jelly Bean on your Fire, it's going to take a lot longer for it to boot up the first time. After the first time, it runs a lot better, and it's really smooth. It works really well. I'm really happy with this particular ROM, and Jelly Bean really does make your Kindle Fire come alive, and it really becomes a real useful Android tablet. So I think you'll enjoy it immensely. So we're going to go ahead and just wait this out. As you can see, it does take quite a while the first time it boots up, and that is normal. Okay, so here we are at the start screen. We're going to go ahead and hit the start button, and it's going to want us to connect to a wireless connection so that we can connect up. So I'm going to go ahead and key this in and join this up, and I'll be right back to you here. So once you key that in, the next screen is going to come up and ask you to sign into your Google account. You do have to have a Gmail account in order to shop on the Play Store. That's how it keeps track of what you own. I'm going to go ahead and log into mine, and I'll be right back. Okay, once you get signed into that, you'll have a couple more things that you can answer. It's going to ask you if you want to let it use your location. And then finally you can just finish the setup. And basically there we are. We are in the new system. And as you can see, if we hold it up here and set it back down so that it reversed itself there, it's a full-blown Jelly Bean system now. Of course, the things you'll want to do at this point are visit the Play Store and get a few of the apps that you're going to need. If you hit the little menu up here, you'll have the option to go to Play Store. If you've already signed in, then it won't ask you to do that. And one of my favorite apps to get for the Android is the AirDroid app. AirDroid will allow you to communicate with your computer and your Android device via wireless, your Wi-Fi. So I'd go ahead and install it. It's free, so really not taking any risks. And I'm just going to show you real quick. If you hit the open button and open up AirDroid, what it'll do now is come up and ask you if you want to connect, and you say next. This is just stepping you through its little instructions, and you hit start, and what should happen is it should load up this load screen, and it'll go ahead and give you a password. So here you've got two addresses. If I turn it for you to read, you can go to those addresses on your computer, and I usually just go to the top one, which is web.airdroid.com. So on my computer, I'm going to show you what happens there if I go to that particular website. So we're going to just go to web.airdroid.com. So it's going to come up with the little login screen, and over here you can type in the passcode. That was the one at the bottom of the screen there of that program. And it's different every time. This is kind of just for your security, and you'll have to get that right, like I didn't. So let's see, GGLAPA. So it's different, like I said, each time. And usually what this means is that your wireless is not on. So what I'll do on the device is I'll go and just go into my wireless and stop it and start it, if that ever happens. It says I'm connected again, so we'll go ahead and go back to the AirDroid app, and this time I got a different number, so we'll try that. And now it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. So basically what happens is it connects to our device, and it gives us a lot of functionality here. We can go, we can look at our messages, we can look at the apps that are installed. This is really cool. If you go into apps, you can actually extract any apps you have. Now this is a brand new load, but I could actually put a check in AirDroid, and I could hit this download, and it would actually download the APK of this app, and then I could take that or give it to someone or share it if I needed to. If I needed a cool feature of this program. The other cool feature is the feature of snapshots. Once you're connected here, then you can actually do what's called, it's called screenshots. So it pulls up your device and it shows, it shows your device. You have to tell it to allow on your device. A little menu will pop up, and then it'll show what your device's screen looks like. So if I change my screen here to a different screen, then it'll project whatever is on my device on the screen, which is kind of cool. So that's one of the features, and there's a lot of other functionalities that you get with this program, but the one that I like the most is Files. So when you click on Files, it's going to show your SD card on your device. And so if I wanted to copy a file over here, I could simply hit the upload button and select a folder or a file and go to my computer, and I could put a file on here. So if I wanted to go in and let's just say we're going to upload something, we'll just choose a file, and we should have uploaded that file to the system right there. And of course we can go to our device here and we can look at it. So let's see if it'll let us get into there and see it. So we got a file manager here, and it should show us docs, and it should show the one that we copied on there, which is the December, and so there it is right there. So we should be able to click on that and open it up. But I don't have a viewer on here, so that's what's happening there. Anyway, so that's kind of a real good rundown of how to put a custom ROM on your Kindle Fire, and how to get started using AirDroid, which is a very important app. Now, of course, from here you'll want to get iSilo, and you'll want to get the WatchShare library files, and then there's other tutorials that help you get those on an Android device. At this point you have a full-blown Android device, so you could watch any of the Android videos to go further from here. Thanks for watching.